Hey, welcome to Roger That, where we want you to not just have a great retirement, we really want you to have a great life. Now, according to the Kaiser Health Tracking poll, 92% of Americans think that it's very important to have an annual physical to maintain good health. But you know what? Only about 60% of people actually have their annual physical. So why is that? I think it's because when we're feeling good, it's never really that important. It's never urgent. So we never get around to it. But if you're like me, when I'm sick, I'm a horrible sick person. When I'm sick, I have no problem going to the doctor because I want to take that pain away. I want to deal with that issue right then. So I go to the doctor, and all I care about is getting the pain taken away and for me to feel better. I want that to happen right now. And so that's all I'm thinking about when I go to the doctor. Well, when you go to the doctor, what happens? You got to sign in and they ask you what's going on. And then you sit in the waiting room and then they take you back. And the first thing they do, why do they do this? The first thing they do is take you to the scale to weigh you. And then they mark down how much you weigh. That's always a little intimidating, especially as I'm getting older. Anyway, and then they take you into the room and the nurse will check your pulse and check your blood pressure and maybe ask you a few questions and write lots of notes down. And then she leaves the room and then you wait. And then you wait. And then you wait. And then the doctor comes in. And what does the doctor have? He already has your chart and he's looking at what the nurse wrote down and he's probably looking at the last time you came in. And then he sits down and says hello and then he starts poking and prodding you and then slowly comes to what the solution is. So they go from a process that they do the same way every single time to create a strategy to get to the tactic. And the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm like, I just want to feel better. Can you just give me the pill, give me the shot, do whatever it is? But they won't do that. They have to go through the process to get the strategy, to get the tactic. There's a reason that they do that. Right? And I think it's the same way in the financial world. We know that retirement planning and financial planning is important to us, but it never feels very urgent. What ends up happening, and I've seen this time and time again with new clients coming in or getting emails from listeners of the podcast or viewers from the YouTube channel of, hey, Roger, what do you think about this XYZ strategy? This mutual fund or this withdrawal strategy? Do you like this kind of annuity? How should I do this estate plan? What ends up happening is we get these small itches or issues that we feel like we have to take care of, and we go try to find the solution for that specific issue because that's urgent to us. Maybe it's we're afraid of the markets going down, right? That's a big fear right now. It's been so great. We're afraid of the markets going down. So we start researching, how can I resolve this fear that I have? And then what will happen is there are plenty of salespeople to sell you a duct tape solution to that short-term issue that you're dealing with, regardless of whether it's right for you or not. So let's go back to that. You're afraid of the markets because the technology market is crashing in the early 2000s. Well, I remember that period of time, and all the product companies came out with these principal protection mutual funds that would put guarantees on the downside and give you a portion of the upside. And you know what? Salespeople sold a lot of them because a lot of people were fearful and they went to get a duct tape solution for that. So they got their principal protection mutual fund because they were worried about the markets going down. Well, then the markets came back up and we started to have rallies, and then real estate became very exciting. So we had the opposite thing. They weren't fearful. They were like, wow, this real estate market is great. How do I get in on that? And maybe they bought a real estate investment trust or they bought some system to flip houses. So they found a solution to that desire that they had to be in on that cool thing, right? So then they got their real estate product that someone sold them. They duct taped that solution. Well, then they had a friend or maybe family who got contracted Alzheimer's. And like, wow, that's scary. That's, well, one, it's sad. It brings it, real close to home if it's somebody that you know. So like, maybe I should take care of that. And so they go searching for a solution to that specific issue, and they find someone that will sell them a duct tape solution to buy long-term care insurance without even looking at what the entire plan is. And so on, and so on, and so on. It could even be, hey, I got this great big bonus. Maybe we should buy that lake house that we've always wanted, or buy that brand new car to find a home for this specific issue that I have. And so what happens over time, and I see it all the time, is that we collect all these duct tape solutions that aren't coordinated in any fashion and have nothing to do with where we're trying to get to in our life, right? If you're in your 50s, no doubt you've collected different investments and different strategies based on some of these immediate needs that you went and found a solution for. That is not a way to rock retirement or create a great life, especially when you're transitioning to retirement, because you want everything coordinated on the most important issue you're dealing with, which is to make the most of the only life you have. So how do you deal with that? Well, the way I deal with that, and the way I think you should deal with that, is the power of process. So these tactical decisions are always important, but you always have to go back to the waiting room, and you need to start with a process that's very well defined to start to work through what is it we're trying to accomplish as a family. What resources do we have to accomplish that? And work through step by step in sequential order, because what will happen, a lot like the doctor's office, is if you start with a very prudent process for decision making, focused not on the markets, not on your fears, but on the desires and the things that you want for your retirement. If you start there and you go through the process, you'll come up with a strategy, and that strategy will lead you to the appropriate tactics. And I'll tell you what, decision making becomes a lot easier. By the time you go through the process to get the strategy, the tactical decisions are actually very easy, and you're in a much better place to make decisions that are going to support you and your family's desire to make the most of the only life you have. So I want to encourage you not to duct tape your retirement. Now, we have something starting in May. Twice a year, we do a live case study with a listener on the Retirement Answer Man show, where we walk them through our agile process. And you get to listen in on this time we're doing one with Sam. She is a single lady close to retirement. And over the coming weeks, we're going to listen in as she discusses her ideal retirement and organizes her financial resources and talks about her fears and desires for retirement. And if you listen to the Retirement Answer Man podcast and listen to Sam's case study, you'll receive documents to follow along as well. So you can subscribe to the podcast down below and see how you can go from process to strategy to tactics so you don't duct tape your retirement and you can make the most of the only life you have. Until next week, this is Roger Whitney. Roger that.